Good evening, beautiful friends, beautiful soul family. Welcome to episode 9 of Love Not Fear, the series that's named after my book. I'm Jack Cox, and my usual co-host, Paul Simon Smith, he can't be here this week, so he sends his apologies. I'm here holding the fort. So you've got to put up with me talking to you, talking to myself for an hour. It may not go on for an hour. Look, if any of you out there want to come on with me, that'd be great. I'll just send me a message and I'll send you the join link. It would be talk about whatever you like, and it would be much better than me sitting here talking to myself for an hour. Paul and I have decided that we've focused enough in this series on doom and gloom, and we really want to talk more about solutions. So, looking forward for the future, and Paul will be here next week. We're going to be talking more about solutions. My book is all about solutions. It was written, 4 or 5 years ago now, and I had no idea all this craziness was going to happen so soon. I wrote another book before that, a couple of years before that, called Rupert Murdoch's Hitmen, which started off with the premise that the mainstream media and the military-industrial complex, big pharma, governments, the banks, are ensnaring us in their web of lies. And although it's a fairly old-fashioned book now, a bit out of date, it's still a good read if you want to look it up. Rupert Murdoch's Hitmen. I wrote it with 2 other guys, one of which was an ex-News of the World journalist, which is why we focused on Rupert Murdoch, but basically it's about the whole mainstream media. The fact that the guy that was in charge of BEA Aerospace for a while was also running the BBC, you couldn't make it up, but it's true. It's all in the book. Love Not Fear sort of emerged out of that. This idea that we were born into a web of lies, into a game we did not devise. And I'm just going to read briefly from not from the book because that would be too long, but just an excerpt from it on my website, lovenotfear.uk. Give you some idea where we're coming from. The game we did not devise. We were born into a game we did not devise, where the rules are stacked against us in favour of the globalist elite. We have no way to win this game. We may make some money. We may get a fancy job title. We may even get some power. But ultimately, even as the CEO of a big company, we can never win this game. There'll always be a bigger parasite sucking us dry. Our only way out is to stop playing this game and devise a fairer one. Excuse me, I'm still full of cold. I'm still brewing a bit of coffee. The whole book is about how to devise a fairer game. And the game, as I say, it was based on the web of lies, as mentioned in the previous book. The currency of the game is money. Stop using money and the game is over. The banks will collapse. The globalist elite will be reduced to ordinary citizens like you and me. The nightmare game will be over and we will be free. We'll be free to devise a new game based on freely giving and freely receiving, on helping each other to thrive, on freedom and independence on love and cooperation, a true loving utopia. Elsewhere I say that we can turn the whole thing on its head just by changing our attitude, just by thinking more about how much we can give than how much we're going to get, by helping the Joneses keep up with us instead of us trying to keep up with the Joneses. It's not communism. I'm not talking about communism. In communism, if I had 2 bicycles and you had none, the government would seize both bicycles and give them to government officials. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a system where if I had 2 bicycles and you had none, I'd just give you one. And I wouldn't ask for anything in return. And you do something nice for John, and John would do something nice for Mary, and Mary would do something nice for Peter, and Peter would do something nice for Jane, and maybe Jane would do something nice for me sooner or later. And what goes around comes around. We don't need to keep score. There's a well-known saying that hurt people hurt people. Well, let's add to that threatened people threaten people, and invaded people invade people. I think that's enough from that for now. Let me see if I can just read to you what I said about money. You see, because we're born into this game that we think is normal because we're born into it, just as a fish thinks it's normal to swim in water. But it's not normal at all. There's nothing normal about it. The whole system of money and barter was introduced, I don't know, probably Babylonian times or something like that, to control the people, to make us mean. It's only because we're born in a world of fear, where we're scared that someone's going to get something over on us, where we're scared that we're not going to get enough, we're not going to be able to feed our family, that makes us mean in return. If we lived in a world where we knew that our needs were covered, not by some overarching government, but just by our neighbours, friends and neighbours. Excuse me. We wouldn't need to be mean. I do apologise for my cough. But the system isn't broken. The system was designed this way. If we can just replace fear and meanness with love and generosity, everything changes. We're trying to build a world where people earn respect and status according to what they put into society instead of what they take out for themselves. The focus has to be on how much we can give rather than how much we can get. Money is about meanness. It's just a way of saying, I will only give you this if you give me that. Bunch of bananas, $1.99. What's that really saying? I don't know how much bananas cost, but what's that actually saying? It's saying, I will only give you these bananas if you give me $1.99. And I don't care if you're starving. Is that really the way we want to live? Is it really human nature to be so mean? Or have we been conned somewhere along the line? Have we been instilled with a false and unfounded fear, a fear that enables the globalist elite to control us? What would happen if we tried something different? I'll give you this because I have two and you don't have one. You're wonderful. That would bring down the whole corrupt system. It would cause a revolution. We need a peaceful revolution to destroy the power of the globalist elite. So let's give it a go. Right, let's give it a go. So who's giving it a go right now? We'll just talk about some of the groups that are out there giving it a go. We're not alone. I've mentioned Juliet Yelverton many times and her healing gardens, the community gardens where you go and work and take food away. Down in Glastonbury. Beautiful place. I love it. I love everything that lady's doing. But there are community gardens all over the world. And I've set up a website recently, it's still under construction, called let'sfeedthecommunity.uk, where people can find other groups, other community gardens, join them, find out how to start a new one. It's under construction, so it's work in progress, but it's coming along. Please, if you want to contribute an article to it, please do so. I have this dream that by bringing in other skills apart from gardening into community gardens, by bringing in the plumber and the electrician and all the other skills, the doctor and the dentist, who do what they do for the community in exchange for being fed for nothing. In exchange for, well, not exchange, I don't know what the word exchange, but because the electrician is looking after their electrics, because the plumber's fixing their burst pipes, because all kinds of therapists are coming around and giving them a massage or sacral cranial or whatever it is regularly. No money changes hands. I've made some notes here and now I can't find them. What am I like? Oh dear. Where's it gone? Right, okay, yeah. There's an organisation called the Freedom Network.co.uk, where we can all come together and reclaim our civil liberties. There's a wonderful thing going in America called the Food is Free Project, and I think it's available in other places too. And they have this gorgeous concept because the layout there is different. They don't have fences and hedges like we do. They have open plan. And they have whole streets where the front gardens, not the back gardens, the front gardens, are laid out as vegetable plots and run by the community. And the idea of that is that when you're working in the garden, people can come along and you can start just talking to people passing by about what it's all about. There's a couple of groups in Australia, I think, or New Zealand, where they actually have racks outside, and you can just go along and take food from the racks, and they collect bread from the bakers, day old bread from the bakers, and put that in there, and anyone can just come along and help themselves to it, as well as the organic stuff they're growing. We can all do that, can't we? I mean, people in this country, quite a lot. By this country, of course, I mean the UK. I mean Britain, where I'm living. Um, we have people who've got hens. They sell eggs with an honesty box, and people put the money in the honesty box. People are very honest. But wouldn't it be lovely if we could just get rid of the honesty box? Come on, have some eggs. And maybe somebody will leave something in there that they've made or grown. You know? There's two websites that I talk about a lot, Free Cycle and, I keep forgetting what the other one's called, Up something. I'll put the links below to it anyway, where you can give away stuff. There's lots of local groups. You can give away stuff that you no longer need. And I'm suggesting we start producing food and manufacturing simple things to give away on these sites. Now, I want to talk to you particularly about a group in France called Solaris, or Solaris, I think they pronounce it in French. In theory, there's groups internationally, but really they're all in France, and even the Spanish website is written in French. And I'm thinking maybe we could start something here in this country, maybe based around my Let's Feed the Community website. I don't know. The whole thing, the playbook could have been taken out of my book. It's so absolutely 100% what I'm talking about. And I want to read to you some of the stuff they've said. And this has been machine translated, so bear with me. The Solaris France network is a human internet, a network of mutual aid and solidarity that begins in your immediate vicinity. It is, of course, completely free. It represents the gathering of human beings who each, on a voluntary basis, act for all, and who together, when necessary, act as one. It works on a tree structure, within a physical mesh of all the people who join it. The narrower the mesh, the better it works, and therefore begins all around you. In the difficult times that we are living in, it will allow no one to remain isolated in the face of their problems. We will provide quick and local responses to everyone's needs. It will link people and strengthen this link more than ever before. It provides itself with its own means of communication in the event of a breakdown in traditional means. Now, they're talking about CB radio, I think. How does the human internet work? Like the digital internet, you have a need, you launch a request in a search engine, and it offers you the most relevant answer. Here, all these steps are human. You enter the network and feed a sort of local directory on the resources available in terms of skill, materials, accommodation. We're actually providing accommodation for homeless people. This is fantastic. Land, etc. And anyone who wants to start a community garden needs land. This is a brilliant, brilliant initiative. The handwritten resource base is constantly updated. Excuse me. And available from reliable people in your immediate geographic locality. You can send your request at any time for assistance to these referees who will tell you where to find the answer from the people closest to you. It will then suffice to contact them. You will, or the network will, do it for you. As already indicated, in the event of failure of the usual means of communication, the network is provided with autonomous means of communication that will show you how to access them for yourselves. The Solaris Spirit. The Solaris Spirit weaves mutual aid and solidarity between all, without commercial transaction, no money changes hands, without notion of barter or any direct exchange agreement. What you give to someone, you will receive from elsewhere. What goes around comes around. This is straight out of my book. The Solaris Spirit vibrates in the heart of all those who have the will to connect with each other, stronger than ever, without hierarchy, without power structure. The Solaris Spirit is the strength of bringing together the skills and resources of all at the service of one, that one putting himself at the service of all. The Solaris or Solaris Spirit means leaving the egos in the locker room and unite in a higher common goal. That of quickly and effectively organizing resilience in a worsening social, political, economic, and health context. The Solaris Spirit is the duty, above all, of transmitting and learning knowledge with pragmatism and efficiency, the near horizon being that of local autonomy in all aspects. Obviously, this is going to need a lot of people to make it work. The Solaris Spirit is the vigilant and benevolent gaze that everyone must now have around them. This in order to identify people in distress or on a delicate slope, and to be able to provide them emergency aid, but also in the long term, the means of their autonomy in everything within a united humanity. The Solaris spirit is blowing in the wind. It is blowing a wind that drives away fear, isolation, despair, and distress. The Solaris spirit is an anchor, is to anchor the concrete foundations of a society founded on a new culture, in which so many have longed for a long time, and which has become a vital emergency. Its foundations are reliance and benevolence, where there was division and conflict before; sovereignty, where there was the feeling of helplessness and loss of identity. Come on, we can do something like this. Those of you who speak French, I'll put the French link below, and please contact them. I'm in contact with one of the French members who fortunately speaks English, because my French is non-existent. It's just not one of the languages I ever learned, which is a great regret to me at this time, but never mind. There are all these different groups. Solaris, the freedom hubs. The food is free. Lots of these different groups. Groups that urge people to, where they buy food, to buy it locally. Short supply lines. We've got to get away from the globalist thinking. Why do we have countries? Well, in theory, so that we can have national governments that can make laws that suit the people who live in that country and their traditions. National governments aren't bad things. The fact that at the moment they've all been infiltrated by globalists is a different story. Globalists and Marxists. But let's not talk too much about that now. We're supposed to be looking at solutions. We can just stop charging money. Just freely give and freely receive. Help each other to thrive. Now, I'm sorry, my head is full of cold. I'm going to cut this short. I'm finding it hard to concentrate. But I did just want to do this one this week, just to keep the momentum going. And hopefully we'll all be firing on full cylinders again next week. Hang on, what's happening here? Nicola Fox. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the comments. Hi, Jack. There's a great Facebook group called Crops Not Shops, who support community gardens and help people get up food growing in their own gardens. Yeah, set up food growing in their own gardens. Okay, Crops Not Shops. Please look it up on Facebook. I certainly will be. Do you want to come on with me, Nicola? Somebody's got to talk to me. I don't know if I'm going to end this now, because I've had enough. I'm getting tired. The head's full of cold. I'm not thinking straight. Yeah. Actually, I'm told that you're not too well either. Paul tells me that you're not too well. So there's a lot of it going around. It's just a cold, by the way, folks, that I've had. I'm a lot better now. They don't go go away thinking I'm dying of something terrible. It's just a cold, just a bad cold. I had a cold like this bad 4 or 5 years ago when I was Christmasing in Oslo with some beautiful friends. And I'm afraid I gave it to them. So, yeah, I spoiled everybody's Christmas that year. Sorry, folks. Um, so this time I decided I was just going to get my head down, stay in bed mostly for a couple of weeks and sweat it out. And that's really what I've done. And pretty much starved it out. I mean, I didn't eat for several days, and that was what I needed, obviously. Um, yeah. Okay, I'm going to wind it up now. Hang on, something's happening. Something's happening. Right, thank you for inviting me. This is Nicola. Well, I've had a shocking migraine, yeah, I know, Paul told me. Hope you feel better soon, Jack. Plenty of rest and put a scarf on even indoors. Ah, the scarf. You know about the scarf. Well, maybe he's posting the scarf tomorrow, apparently. So I'm really looking forward to receiving that. That's uh, the first thing anyone's made for me in years, and it's really touched my heart. So anyway, if you're watching this, maybe, or you're watching the replay, well, you know what I think about it. You know what I think. I've told you loads of times what I think about it. I've gone overboard about what I think about it. But, yeah. Um, anyway, speak to you all again next week. Namaste.